Well, hello folks, it's Dave with Ural Motorcycles. Hey, it's been about a year and some months since the 2022 product changes video that I did was released. So it's a little late, but I'm gonna go over the changes that have been made for the 2023 model year. Now, most of these upgrades may seem small or not immediately apparent just by looking at the bike, but as is the case with so many things regarding Ural, the unseen changes are usually the most impactful regarding longevity and reliability. Now, Ural has never done a great job of promoting what changes we have made, but that's why I think these videos are a great tool to dispense this information and really drive home what has been accomplished, even if you can't see it. Now, for small volume manufacturers, change doesn't come overnight. But for those of you that have been actively following along, you have most likely noticed the motorcycle improve by a wide margin since 2003. For example, just recently, the Sidecar guys, you may have seen this on Facebook or Instagram, they wrote a 2022, picked it up here, and in their words, they hammered on the bike for 10 days through 4 states and across 2,100 miles on a mix of paved and backcountry discovery routes. 2 up, loaded down, 0 issues. The 2023 Ural is nothing like the Ural of 20 years ago. So I encourage anyone who still thinks in the terms that were used to describe Ural 20 years ago to visit a dealer, check out the current bikes to see and feel the difference for yourself. And keep in mind, this was all accomplished despite a pandemic, supply issues, material costs soaring, a war, relocating to a new country, and not shipping sidecars for 6 months. We were able to get quite a bit done. So here are the changes for 2023. So the first thing on my list is the engine case and rear bearing housing seal. Over the years, a large investment in time and monetary resources has been made for new tooling, for improved castings of heads, cylinders, the front timing cover, alternator adapters, the gearbox case, final drives, and more. Now introducing our all-new engine case, we're virtually at the end. Ural has diligently been replacing piece after piece, casting after casting, until we are now down to 0. All castings have now been updated with new manufacturers, new tooling, updated technology, tighter tolerances, better metallurgy and machining, things that couldn't be done with the old equipment like the rear cam bearing. The tolerances could not be guaranteed, so a bushing was used for the rear cam bearing. Timing gears, the center to center machining could be slightly off, and that's why there was different numbered timing gear sets, if any of you are familiar, if you've had to replace any of that. So basically, there's no more timing groups. It's gonna be one set. The oil squirter for the timing gears. The old method of adjusting the oil squirter was literally a pair of pliers. No joke. It was a pair of pliers to adjust the flow and the direction in which it squirted out. Now we have a nice part supplied with every engine case that is a universal across all the new cases made. Even the sight window for the timing mark, remember it has been a little rubber plug since the beginning of time. Sometimes that little plug would fall out, or you'd have to put a little dab of silicone on there to keep it in. Now it's a nice threaded plug. The starter cover is now cast into the case. It's not a separate piece like it used to be. The speed sensor mounts, the front engine studs, the pass-through is machined and drilled through, so there's no more tube insert that goes in with a couple of seals, so there's no chance for leaks at that point. Every possible source of leaks, as far as the engine is concerned, has been addressed, even at the rear bearing housing. Now a machine groove and a rubber seal has been added. Basically everything we always wanted to do but we couldn't do before ourselves with the old tooling and the old machines is sitting right here in all its cast aluminum glory. I'll have to get a couple of close-ups for you on this, but the machining is absolutely beautiful. The squareness of the base of the cylinders, the front timing cover, the machining is just gorgeous, even right down to where the VIN number gets etched into the block. It's completely flat. Where the alternator goes on, perfectly flat surface. You look at that extra ribbing that was added in for the engine stud that goes through the front. And like I said before, there's no more insert tube and seals on either end to keep it all together, because before the factory couldn't do this, and the cost to retool to do this would have been limiting and prevented us from coming out with other things, having to buy not only the machine and equipment, but also the tooling to develop this. And believe it or not, all of this started about 8 to 10 years ago. It started by replacing the old plastic starter cover with a cast aluminum piece. As time went by, Ural brought more customers to this manufacturer, as well as our continued support with new parts. And now this manufacturer, who initially made an investment of $800 for tooling, is now $1 million or more company supplying parts to many different industries and many different manufacturers. And this crankcase just shows how far Ural has come in 20 years, and the effort behind it shows just how far we're willing to go to bring quality parts to our product. Now, it may not have happened overnight, but here it is. Now, to go into these beautiful new machined bores, we have also brought to you new tappets and guides, roller tappets and guides with the coordinating camshaft, with a change in the profile that is required for a roller setup. So again, this stuff is like jewelry. There's no way that the old factory would have been able to do this. I mean, the tolerances are just incredibly tight. There's literally no wiggle on these things. They just slide together with a little cushion of air. I mean, that's beautiful. The new castings on the gearbox, the internal components of the gearbox, everything has been systematically replaced with new suppliers, new parts, new machining, or new processes to make the part, or we've eliminated welds where it was maybe a 2 or 3 piece part. Now it's a 1 piece part, creates a longer lasting, more reliable, more durable part, much more in line with modern day manufacturing that you'd find on any other motorcycle manufacturer. It's also a testament to our relationship with our vendors, manufacturers and suppliers, that this one little part ended up resulting in this engine case right here over the course of, I think it was about 8 years. You know, from this to this, it's not a simple jump, and it does take time to build up that trust and that relationship with a vendor to make sure that they can deliver you the best product that possible, particularly for a low volume manufacturer where we're not buying tens of thousands of parts a year. We're only buying, you know, maybe a couple thousand. So I've laid out on the table new versus old using the new cam. I didn't want to grab one of the older cams off the shelf, but so you got the new cam with the new profile to work with roller tappet. You got the bronze tappet guide as opposed to the old product, which was aluminum, and a solid tappet that would just ride on the lobe of the cam. Then you have these came out a while ago, but you have the 2 different size push rods, old, new. You can see new is much beefier through the center. It's more robust. And then you got the rocker arms. Again, these came out you know, a few years ago, and it's very evident just by looking at them, the difference in the castings and then the finish machining, not to mention that these have bronze bushings in them and a different way of retaining the shafts, and the adjusters themselves are just a much nicer product. Again, these came out years ago, but it's one of those things that maybe it got overlooked and we didn't promote it enough to showcase it. Similar to items like, if you haven't seen it before, the clutch release lever. This is the old product, and if you look at the new product that was put out a couple years ago, it's a solid piece cast aluminum with a piece of steel inserted into the casting, because if we had left aluminum in that position, it might wear prematurely. And then internally, you got a bronze bushing, inserted into the aluminum. I brought this up last year, but you look at the pistons of old compared to pistons, what we were getting into in the beginning of the EFI phase, and then more recently 2022. The quality of the pistons is just incredible, and now the piston pins come matched to the piston, just for comparison, to show what, how we've been proceeding and working on these things incrementally and systematically. You look at the old pump compared to the new pump, whether it's the shaft, the casting of the pump itself, and then right down to something as simple as the screen that rides on the bottom of the oil pan. Also for 2023 is a new valve cover gasket. This gasket will require a much lower torque specification to seal the valve cover to the head. It will be reusable. We'll come out with more details on that when I actually have one to show. And last up on the table for 2023 is a new two-wheel drive sidecar drive shaft. I'm not really going to go into a long explanation of what a CV joint is and isn't versus a traditional cardan U-joint, but to summarize it quickly, these are packed in grease, and typical CV joints, they will go in and out as well while they're rotating, so there's a constant velocity, reducing vibration. The grease that it's packed in also provides much less maintenance than trying to grease your U-joints. And this drive shaft will be retrofittable to all two-wheel drive sidecar models. If you were to compare it to the old drive shafts, you would immediately notice the difference in machining, the finished surfaces. I should mention too, the other items that I showed you before, the new roller tappets with the bronze guides, the new cam, and all those other components, the rocker arms and things like that. They are all retrofittable to the 750 motors. You will be able to use new components as long as you change the whole system. So cam, guide, tappet, push rods to rocker arms. Install the whole system if you feel like upgrading. And as far as price and availability on all these items I discussed, including the valve cover gasket, and pricing and that, we'll do another video as they come into our location here in Redmond, Washington. I would also like to take this opportunity to mention some online resources that you have available to you. I've talked about them before. I think they kind of fly under the radar a lot of times, much like the internal upgrades that we're constantly doing. If you go to our website, IMZ-Ural.com, that is the starting point to find all these different items. You can click the shop tab and it will take you to our online store. You can click the dealer locator at the top of the page and search by state and get all the information about a dealer and what inventory is in stock for that dealer if you're looking for a new bike. We also have online catalog books going all the way back to 2010. So if you're in search of a part number or you're looking to see what your particular bike, as long as it's 2010 or newer, has for a part, or when a part was amended to something new, you can actually search in there, type in your bike, type in your year, and it will give you all the parts and part numbers for that year. It's right there on the website. And also the year-over-year changes. If you go up to the bikes, there you can see all the product changes that we've made year over year up to the current model year. So if you have internet access either at home or on your phone, there's a myriad of resources available to you, tools that are available to you that you can use while on the go or trying to research something for your Ural. As always, I thank you for watching. I'd appreciate a like, and please, if you want to see more of these types of videos, installation videos, and anything of that nature, please subscribe to our channel. Click the little bell icon on the side. That will give you a notification anytime we have a new video out, regardless what it's pertaining to. So until next time, this is David. I appreciate you watching. Take care and ride safe.